In laboratory, digital convolution. Convolution is one of the most important operations in digital signal processing because it describes how an input signal interacts with the system to produce an output signal. In this lab, we perform convolution using Python and verify the result using both a built-in function and a manual summation method. The main objectives of this experiment were to perform convolution between two discrete signals and to verify that the manual method gives the same result as the Python's built-in function. By doing this, we can clearly understand how convolution works mathematically and how it is implemented in the real digital systems. Convolution is a mathematical operation that combines two signals. This represents the input signal, and this represents the system impulse response. And the result is the output of the system. In simple terms, convolutions tell us how a system modifies in an input signal. This concept is widely used in digital filters, audio effects, image processing, and LTI system analysis. With the previous labs, we begin by importing NumPy and Matplotlib. NumPy helps us perform numerical computation and array operations, while Matplotlib allow us to visualize the signals and using plot. Next, we define our two discrete time signals. This is the input signal that contains 4 samples, and this is the impulse response, which represents how the system responds to an input. These values were chosen to keep the convolution process signal and easy to follow, especially when verifying the result manually. We then create time indices for both signals using this. These indices allow us to properly label the x-axis when plotting. In plotting the signal, help us visually understand their shapes before convolution. Here, we use this to plot the signals since they are discrete time signals. The first plot shows the input signal and the second plot shows the impulse response. Visualizing these signals make it easier to understand how convolution will combine them. Now, we perform convolution using Python's built-in function. This function automatically computes the linear convolution, and the length of the output signal is calculated as this formula. In our case, the output contains 6 samples. The plot shows the results of the convolution. The output signal is a new sequence that represents how the input signal has been modified by the system. You can think of this as the mixing of the two signals into a single output. To verify the result, we perform convolution manually using nested loops. The outer loops go through each output index, while the inner loops compute the summation for convolution. These conditions ensures that we only use valid indices of the impulse response, and this code directly implements the mathematical definition of convolutions. We compare the results from the built-in function and the manual method. The output shows that both methods produce exactly the same results. This confirms that the manual summation formula is correct and matches Python's implementation. From this lab, we observe that convolution always increases the signal's length, that both methods give identical outputs. This proves that convolution is consistent whether done manually or using software. In real-world application, convolution is used to create audio echoes, image blurring, and digital filters. For example, an echo effect is created by convolving an audio signal with an impulse response that represents the delay in the decay of the echo. To conclude, this laboratory taught us how convolution works both mathematically and computationally. How an input signal in the system We learned how an input signal and the system's impulse response combine to produce an output signal by verifying the result manually.